From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to you for Sunday, July 5th. Hope everybody had a fantastic Independence Day and was safe. Hopefully, if you are safe if you're watching this, I would think. But we are now going to move on. We have to look forward to what's coming up. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the long range today because we did not update this since last week. Not really a need to. We are expecting this period this week to be slightly above average in temperature, so we are going to get back up into several days of mid to upper 80s. We're not talking about any oppressive heat waves here. Nothing that we're just jumping out at us going, wow, it's going to be in the 90s for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days here. We're not looking at anything like that in the near future. You don't necessarily have to be that far above normal in order to be hot. I mean, obviously, you have the heat and humidity combined. It creates problems for even just trying to breathe in the morning when it's you get up and it's 70 degree, the dew points are in the 70s already. That's really makes it difficult for people with breathing problems as well. So just it doesn't take much. So we're going to be normal this time of year is right around the mid 80s or thereabout. Down by Philadelphia it's about 87. So if we're above that, we're still slightly above average, and I do think we do average that period for quite some time now. All the way up to the 23rd we have slightly above average. Still going near average precipitation this month. And I think that still holds. I want to get into something today that really has had my goat this week. I really, just looking at the different comments on the Facebook page and through Twitter and just seeing things around the weather community, period. It's very difficult to see all the different comments about severe thunderstorm watches, tornado watches, and people not knowing the difference between watches and warnings. And we preach this for a very long time now, and every time we post something like that, we'll pass along when the Storm Prediction Center issues a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch. And everybody thinks they have to run for cover. Severe thunderstorm watch is just to be on the lookout. Same thing with a tornado watch. Just the conditions, or atmospheric conditions, are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms. In the severe thunderstorm watch part, conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms that could produce a tornado. Would be for a tornado watch. Now you can have a severe thunderstorm watch. You can issue a severe thunderstorm watch, and it still does cover in the criteria and isolate a tornado or two. So we did have a severe thunderstorm watch earlier this week on Tuesday, and there were a few tornado reports, or at least tornado warnings, as part of that severe thunderstorm watch. So I just want to go over the difference between these two, because there seems to be a big misconception about this. What happens is, we're going to start with the process here. First thing we're going to do is look at the Storm Prediction Center's process. Now, what we do in advance, and I'm sure they do too, they'll look at things down the road a little bit, and they'll actually go out to well into the future, 6-7 days in the future, and take a look at severe threats. We really don't look at anything here at EPAWA. We won't look at anything and take it seriously until we're about 3 days out, because time and time again something looks really, really great a week, almost a week away, and then things just change, because you know how these computer models are. They don't they really can't agree day to day, and they change that very frequently, as change their mind frequently. So realistically, we won't start really looking at anything until about 3 days out, and we really won't start getting serious talks about it until we get within about 36 to 48 hours. After that, we'll really start going through on our forum. We'll start discussing everything that the models are showing, and the synoptic setup that's making it possible, and what our opinions are on it. The SBC does something similar, but the SBC is part of the National Weather Service, which is the only authorized agency that's allowed to issue watches and warnings. So if you see something come up on the Weather Channel, you see something on your phone, you have I see that a lot too. Well, my local media station just issued a severe thunderstorm watch. No, they didn't. They're passing the information. There's one agency that is authorized to issue it, and that is NOAA, the National Weather Service. That's it. So anything you see on the Weather Channel, anything you see on TV, on the radio, anything like that, it's not the radio or TV or the Weather Channel issuing anything. They're just passing along the information. They're a dissemination source. So With that being said, here's what the SPC does. It'll put out a severe risk mesoscale discussion. It will actually say, okay, this area here we're watching for development here. This is the day of now. They'll see we're watching this area for development, and the threat's increasing. Things are favorable. What have you, whatever the wording might be, and the area is being monitored for a possible weather watch issuance. Okay, so they'll just highlight an area. This is called a mesoscale discussion. After that point, usually within about an hour or so, if conditions continue to deteriorate as far as getting these severe parameters in here, they will issue a broad severe thunderstorm watch. That's covered this, it depends. It's different areas. They'll highlight the area and put an entire area under severe thunderstorm watch. Not always as big, but the general idea here is this is a broad area, a very broad area here. This goes on this particular one, went from up by Erie here all the way down into interior South Jersey, Baltimore. I mean, this whole area is under the same watch box. Okay. Now, they're not, like I said, they're not always this big. Sometimes it might be just like this area right here or something. Okay. They're not always that big, but it's a very large area. So it seems as though people see this and they'll get upset. Somebody's looking for a really good storm, maybe even looking forward to a severe storm. They will go out and film it. They maybe get a high off of it. I don't know what. I don't know why you'd want a severe thunderstorm, but a lot of people in the responses that we get are saying, "Wow, we're up here in Williamsport. And we've been on the severe thunderstorm watch that Philadelphia is under. Philadelphia is getting slammed, and we're seeing stuff on news and seeing the pictures come in and people putting comments on the Facebook page. And we're sitting here with nothing. We had a very weak storm roll through. So every time they issue these severe thunderstorm watches, they're a joke. Well, they're not a joke. The whole idea is this entire area was favorable. It does not mean every single place inside this boundary is going to get a severe thunderstorm. As a matter of fact, you're probably only going to have a handful. There sometimes or less. All this means, severe thunderstorm watch, is that you have within 25 miles of any given point, you usually have between a 15 and 30% chance of seeing a severe thunderstorm. Now, if you think about that, if I told you that we had a 15% chance of seeing rain today, would you bring in your umbrella? Probably not. Probably not. So when they issue a watch, I would probably increase that to about 30. Still, if somebody told me we had a 30% chance of rain, maybe I might bring my umbrella, maybe not. Because you still got a 70% chance that nothing's going to hit. Same concept here. If you're under the severe thunderstorm watch, you have a 30% chance, 15 to 30% chance of getting hit by a severe thunderstorm within 25 miles of any given point within the watch box. Okay, so that means you could be in, say, Allentown and be high and dry. Next town over, Bethlehem, gets nailed. Severe wind damage, what have you. And that's what happened this week. So just wanted to point that out there. Here's what it looks like when we go to the next stage. This is actually going to the radar. Severe warnings. These will pop up here on the radar, and then they'll be issued again. This is issued from the National Weather Service. They're not issued from your local media source or radio. They might pass it on. Your phone might go off and go crazy with these warnings, especially if it's a tornado warning or flash flood warning. You don't even subscribe to alerts. You'll get those warnings if they're life-threatening type warnings. Okay, so that's different. Severe thunderstorm warnings, they're here in the yellow boxes. These all initiate from the National Weather Service. Now, this particular office that issued this is in State College that issued these, because I just know where the lines line up here. These came from State College. So they have different forecast offices. There's another one here in Mount Holly, New Jersey. There's one up here in Upton, New York. Down here in D.C. There's all these different agencies that will issue these warnings, but they're all part of the National Weather Service. Okay, and when you get a warning pop up, this means it's time to take action. It's not time to. This is not a conditions are favorable to produce a tornado. This is either Doppler radar indicated severe, or it has a history of producing either a tornado or severe weather. Like downwind. See these looks like a little lightning bolt on here. This is a wind damage report that preceded this cell, which is now nearing Pottsville. Then they put it under a tornado warning in this image. The whole idea here is if something is issued that says anything that says warning, it means you need to take action. So watch means you need to be aware. Warning means you need to take action. So as soon as you hear a tornado warning, it's time to take it seriously. If it doesn't happen, fine, and you got lucky. If they issue a tornado warning, it's because there is very strong rotation that they've noted. Now I'm going to show you take a look at this Lehigh Valley supercell that we had this week and break this down. Now here is a radar. This is an enhanced radar. This is actually the GR3 high-res radar that we use for EPAWA. You have something similar on your phone. It might not be color enhanced as well, or maybe zoomed in as well, or whatever. Okay, but they issued a tornado warning for right around just north of the Allentown area. This is Whitehall Copley. All right, this is what that cell looked like when it was over top of it. Now, what this thing did, now it also produced a funnel cloud out here in the Trexlertown, Macungie area. Okay, a funnel cloud we'll get into in a second. So, produced a funnel cloud, headed off northeast like this. Okay, and then the storm has a rear flank downdraft and a front flank downdraft. Okay, on the front and rear of the storm. If the rear flank downdraft catches up to the front flank downdraft in the storm itself, within the supercell, this is a supercell, different kind of storm, very complex storm. If that catches up to the front flank downdraft, the storm will actually occlude, which is basically gets this storm to recycle and reload. When it does that, instead of going northeast and on a heading like we thought was going to happen, it actually jutted off to the southeast like this before continuing up like this. So right in this point here was going through a recycle, and that's not something we saw coming, because you can't predict that. It's impossible. You just watch radar trends and see what it's doing. All right, so it means every time you have a tornado warned storm, just because you're not in this box right here, just because they say, all right, well, this is just for the Allentown area and that's it, that doesn't mean in Bethlehem, oh, I'm good. Because all of a sudden, boom, they can start turning at any time. All right, or you can't think, oh, up in East Stroudsburg, it's not, whatever. You can't just dismiss it like it's nothing, especially when the funnel cloud is reported already. Now we have something a little bit different to determine the wind velocities. Now this is a regular radar that you can see on your phone. We have, as meteorologists, we have this. This is a GR2 analyst. This is a base velocity radar. Actually shows us the rotation in the velocity couplet here. We got see that? You got some rotation right here in the middle, indicating there might be a tornado right here in the middle where these two meet. These are in and outbound wind velocities coming in aloft. All right, showing the rotation aloft. Now this is about 850 millibars, okay, which means you're up about 5,000 feet. But you can still see distinct rotational radar, and that's why this warning was issued for Allentown and points east-northeast of there. Okay, if you look at, we actually zoomed in on this area right here to take a look at it closer. Some very deep rotation here, obviously aloft. But if you notice, right at the bottom here, this is going up in elevation. Right at the bottom here, nothing's touching, nothing's there. That means this is a funnel. This is not reaching the ground. There's no rotation on the ground level. It just stops a couple hundred feet above the ground. Close, very close. Okay, but it didn't reach the ground. And that's why many of you saw pictures like this right here. Saw these funnel clouds coming through here through the Lehigh Valley. And you had this just suspended right here. It was coming down pretty far, but it never got below here. Okay, so that's the whole point. And that when the National Weather Service investigated the one in the Lehigh Valley, they determined that it was not a tornado. So a funnel is not a tornado unless it reaches the ground. A funnel is just suspended in air like this. And you can still get people who are looking around seeing all the damage and were confused. Well, I saw the funnel cloud, so it had to be a tornado. Well, not necessarily, especially in a supercell. You can have these microbursts or macrobursts where you have this rushing of air where the rear flank downdraft comes down and just, in a very localized area, produces winds that smack down the area and pushes things down in different directions. People say, well, there wasn't a straight line wind damage. Well, no, it wasn't. It doesn't have to be. See how these are all going out in different directions like this? See how it's all spidering out like this? They're all going, so everything's going to be flattened in different directions around this. And that's the whole idea. And it's enhanced by precipitation, loading, evaporation, and melting. So this is all part of this downdraft here. And that's what the National Weather Service determined happened in the Allentown area. Of course, we did have a confirmed EF1 in tornado in Honeybrook, PA, and that was a little bit more defined, and they could see that there was actual damage. Now, these guys go out and they're trained to see this and see what they're doing. They know what they're doing. It's just amazing to me in some of these comments that they're calling BS on the National Weather Service like there's some kind of conspiracy. There was no conspiracy. It was just a funnel just microburst damage, and this is typical of what a microburst damage can do. I mean, you can flatten things in all different directions. You can see it all spidering out here. Wherever that centralized point is, or wherever it decided to come down, everything spidered out from there and it creates damage. Now this is a little wider over here in the Copley, Catasauqua, Whitehall area, but and I understand people's frustrations, but it really doesn't matter. You can still have this kind of damage from a regular thunderstorm that would be the equivalent of having an EF0 or EF1 tornado. So it's just a matter of semantics. I know people saw a funnel and assumed it was a tornado, and that's fine. Either way, it did a lot of damage, and the whole point is, whenever you have these warnings that are issued here, you need to take action here when a watch is issued. It's just to be aware that there's a possibility that a severe thunderstorm could form in your area. That's it. This is just an action. This is not an action. This is just to be aware. This is take action, take immediate action, either to prepare for a severe thunderstorm coming toward your county specifically, or a possible tornado, either Doppler radar indicated or one sighted on the ground by someone that is an emergency management official or law enforcement. So once this is issued, it's time to start taking cover. And that's this edition of Weather Weeklies. Join me again next week for another edition on the 12th, and we'll get another discussion, probably more into the long range at that time. Have a great week.